Howdy, pards. This is your saddle pal Buck the Big Man from Cowboy Camp Meeting, and you're watching Country Church TV. I've got a cowboy poem I hope you'll enjoy called You Can Always Tell a Cowboy. Well, now you can always tell a cowboy, but not by the clothes he wears. See, his outfit's been adopted by those that neither know or care. Some highfalutin city boys will never understand the deep connection that exists between the cowboy and the land. They can't figure why he'd cuss them long-eared critters and then ride into town and brag about the drive he just come off of. He spent 3 months riding drag. Now, he may have a fine new sky piece or a battered lid of straw, but he'll take it with him everywhere. That's practically the law. Oh, he'll take it off to pray, or if ladies are around, but otherwise he'll wear it proudly, as a king would wear a crown. Now, his boots are plumb up to his knees, and spurs are at his feet, with jingle bobs a-ringin'. That's a sound that's mighty sweet when you're out there on the prairie with a hoss between your knees, riding back to camp with a smell of wood smoke on the breeze. See, a cowboy won't be found indoors or even in a tent. No, he'll sleep out on the prairie on those nights that heaven sent, and smile as he gazes at the wonders up above and thanks the maker of creation for a life he dearly loves. And it's a life that's short on comfort, eating mostly beef and beans, and there's times he won't have 1 red cent in the pocket of his jeans. But you can tell a real cowboy by the twinkle in his eye, 'cause he's thinking of a day coming in the by and by when he'll cross the Jordan at the trail's end and meet the boss of the skies and make his home there on the Golden Range where old cowboys never die. I got an old cowboy song I want to do you. I hope you enjoy. It was written by D.J. O'Malley in the late 1800s, and Carl T. Sprague of Bryan, Texas, had the very first cowboy hit record with this in 1928. It's called When the Work's All Done This Fall. A bunch of jolly cowboys discussing plans at ease said, "One, I'll tell you something, boys, if you will listen, please. I'm an old cow puncher, now you see me dressed in rags. I used to be a tough one, boys, and go on great big jags. Said I have a home, boys, a good one you all know, though I haven't seen it since so very long ago. I'm going back again, boys, once more to see them all. I'm gonna see my mother when the work's all done this fall." That very night the cowboy went out to stand his guard. Night was dark and cloudy and was storming very hard. The cattle, they got frightened and they rushed in wild stampede. Cowboy tried to head them off a-riding at full speed. While riding in the darkness so loudly he did shout, tried his best to head them and to turn the herd about. His saddle horse did stumble and on him he did fall. He'll not see his mother when the work's all done this fall. His body was so mangled his friends all thought him dead. They picked him up so gently and they laid him on a bed. He opened wide his blue eyes and looking all around, motioned his companions to sit by him on the ground. Said, "Send my mother wages, boys, the wages I have earned, for I am afraid that my last year I have turned. I'm headed for a new range, I hear the master's call. I'll not see my mother when the work's all done this fall. Bill, you take my pistol, Frank, you take my bed, Jim, you take my saddle after I am dead. Think upon me kindly when you look upon them all. I'll not see my mother when the work's all done this fall." We buried him at sunrise, no tombstone at his head, nothing but a little board, and this is what it said: "Charlie died at daybreak, he died here from a fall. He'll not see his mother when the work's all done this fall." You're watching Country Church TV. I got a cowboy poem I would like to do for you. Hope you enjoy, called Trails to Yesterday. As I look at events in our country today, it seems my values have passed from the scene. So I think back to my youth and the things that I learned from Roy and Hoppy and Gene. And you said yes, sir, and ma'am, until you were growed and you got swatted on where you sat. And when the national anthem was played, every cowboy would take off his hat. Now, we all had our 6 guns by the time we turned 9 that our granddaddies taught us to use, and we hunted and fished and sang campfire songs, and none of us used drugs or booze. Why, the biggest worry we had back then was, could Trigger outrun Champ? We had heroes we could be proud of, you see, that showed us the way like a lamp. Today's kids don't have heroes, no one to learn from. Well, there's a few left to show 'em the way. So, pard, let's round up and herd these here young buckaroos down the trail to yesterday.